whatever you are pursuing, it's going to come at a cost. You're going to go through a season where you're doing the thing yourself. And you have to decide, how bad do you want it? You're going to be tested for what it is that you say that you want. And this is across the board. It doesn't matter if you're applying for a job. It doesn't matter if you're trying to make that marriage work. You have to decide how bad you want it and what you're willing to sacrifice and give to make it work. So with that said, I want to take a look into examining some of the greats. People who inspire us and people who we aspire to be like. I've often said to myself, girl, you have to fucking keep it real. You got to decide, am I really willing to do this? Am I really willing to go the extra mile? Am I going to sacrifice this? Am I going to deal with that? This life that I've decided in pursuing entertainment and pursuing just being a Black storyteller and like doing the thing, you have to decide how much of yourself you're going to give, how much of your values or not you willing to compromise or not. You know what I mean? So I just want to assure you that you are going to go through a healthy amount of rejection. You're going to be broken at the seams. Things are going to fall apart in the process and they're going to come together. And you really have to examine, is this the life that you say you really want? Because everything that glitz and glamour isn't gold. And a lot of times people discover, maybe this isn't what I wanted. Maybe God is pushing me in a different direction. And I think that's okay. So I think that you just have to examine and constantly ask yourself, how bad do you want it and what is your why? So here are some stories from the greats. First up, we have the one and the only Jennifer Lewis. I had the pleasure of running into Jennifer Lewis a couple of weeks ago. And I just want to say, like, our spirits like stop. Like I was walking out of a brunch spot in Studio City and I wasn't paying attention to like where I was going. I think I was picking up my bag doing something. But when I got up and I looked, her spirit and my spirit stopped and recognized each other. And we embraced each other. I told her my name and, she told me I was beautiful and all the things. But it just was like, I poured into her. Like, I would just pray we work together one day. Or I think I might have even said we're going to work together one day. But I never let these moments when God shows me how good it can get, those small moments for me really plant something deep down in my spirit. Because I was by myself. I'm living my little life. And for me to run into the Jennifer Lewis, I definitely feel like that was God telling me, like, keep going, keep going. So, if you don't know her story, I'm going to share a little bit. Jennifer Lewis has openly shared that she's given up many times, emotionally throughout her life, but she's never allowed herself to quit pursuing her purpose. She's lived with bipolar disorder, battled addiction, endured homelessness early in her career, and later survived a near-fatal fall while on vacation. Through it all, she distinguishes between giving up for a moment and walking away permanently. And I quote, I have gave up many times in my life, but I didn't quit. You gotta be able to get in it to win it. My thing to the audience is there is a clear difference between quitting or giving up for the day and giving up on yourself. A lot of low moments come with this shit. A lot. I wake up some days and I question my very existence. But I will say, there's never been one moment in my journey when I thought about giving up on myself. And that's no shade, no tea. Like, I never moved to LA and was like, yeah, if something doesn't go my way, I'm going to give up. Never crossed my mind. But have I had some moments when I've like absolutely cried my eyes out and wondered, God, where are you in the midst of this thing? Like, absolutely. So I can totally relate to just the things that we go through in our personal life that people don't know about. And we have to push through, keep a smile on our face, and, pull ourselves up by our bootstraps. So shout out to the GOAT, the icon, Jennifer Lewis. Next, we have Cheryl Lee Ralph, another icon and great. And the reason why I chose her to highlight, I identify with Shirley Ralph a lot when it comes to rejection. I have gone through more than a healthy amount of rejection in my life. And I mean every which way. I remember being in high school and being held back from certain opportunities because people didn't like me. Obviously there have been moments in my life when I didn't get the guy that I wanted. There have been moments in my life where I didn't get a role. Matter of fact, this is a great story. Dreamgirls. When I was in college at St. John's, I auditioned for the role of the replacement dream girl and I didn't get the role. Not because I wasn't good enough. It really came down to like I wasn't melanated. As we know, all the dream girls are beautiful, brown, and dark toned women. You see what I am. We don't need to go into detail about that. It was not about my talent or my vocals. Didn't get the part. But guess what God did? I showed up during winter break. I cheered for St. John's, and the girl who was supposed to play the role of the replacement dream girl did not show up. And guess who was there? Me. You guessed it. It was me. That opportunity ultimately became mine because I was persistent and I was there. So sometimes it's a matter of simply showing up for yourself. Showing up is half the battle. But like I said, I resonate with Shirley Ralph because she talks about the significant amount of rejection that she has endured in her career and that she's never given up. Shirley Ralph has spent decades being overlooked after starring in Dreamgirls. She's often talked about enduring rejection after rejection before finally experiencing a career renaissance in her 60s through Abbott Elementary. Rather than chasing validation, she stayed committed to her craft until the industry finally caught up. Delay doesn't mean denial. Let me hear it in the back, y'all. Delay doesn't mean denial. Hello? Hello? Sometimes God has greater plans, you guys. My question to the audience: would you wait until your 60s to break in your career? Very uncomfortable, but is it really what you love? I think about her and Coleman Domingo. Coleman Domingo often talks about working as a working in the restaurant industry and the things that he went through as a starving artist, but he never once for 1 second thought that it wasn't gonna happen. He knew with his whole heart and his whole chest it was gonna happen. So that's what I empower you with. Delay does not mean denial. And last but not least, my favorite on this list, the Victoria Monet. Had to highlight my girl. I saw an interview of hers of them asking her about taking the steps, taking the elevator versus the steps. And she gave a beautiful analogy. She was like, if I'm on an expressway, I miss all the beautiful things that happen when you take the scenic route. So taking the scenic route means I'm allowed to really enjoy the process as the thing develops. And I thought that was beautiful. Oftentimes, I tell people, we got to learn how to enjoy the now because the now won't be where we are later. Enjoy having rest. Enjoy being out, being able to go out with your friends. Enjoy it because when you booked and busy, you won't have time for nobody. So I enjoyed the fact that you develop character when you taking a scenic route. You develop stripes that nobody can take from you. You got to understand that your adversity is molding and shaping you into the person that's not going to miss the opportunity. It's shaping you into the person that's not just going to get into the room. You're going to stay in the room. You know what I mean? You're not just a trend. You're the trendsetter. You understand what I'm saying? I think you do. Victoria Monet almost quit several times. She spent over a decade writing hits for other artists while wondering why no one believed in her. She questioned her worth. She questioned whether she was lackluster. She wondered why everyone was getting opportunities, and she almost walked away from the music industry entirely. And then she became a Grammy-winning artist after 10 years of the grind. Sometimes we believe that being unseen means we're unworthy. So the reason I can walk with my head held high into certain rooms and certain spaces is because no matter how I feel about myself, I try to show up as God sees me. And I know that He's cultivating me for something bigger. Every creative has had those moments of feeling like they're unworthy or lackluster or not talented enough. I think the test of really being that girl is doing it anyway. Do it scared. Build that muscle up. Build up the courage to just be who God called you to be in your full authenticity. Be free in who God called you to be. Shout out to Scott Evans, my boy.